All right, let's go out and bring in our second guest of the day. And we love our Monday chats with Allana Tachauer from 5 Reasons Sports, who joins us. Oh, and see, Manny is trying to get you to be an Eagles fan. Now, Allana, I did want to ask you because you're an even bigger basketball fan than I am. I'm a bigger football fan than you are.
Mm-hmm.
And my Saturday and my Sunday was basically wall to wall college football Saturday, NFL all day on Sunday. How much time did you spend watching football this weekend?
I actually watched football with some friends yesterday. Granted, we were kind of like messing around and eating and drinking while the games were on, so I wasn't fully
Nothing wrong with
focused.
that.
But I mean, I am a Packers fan, and I watched that game. Yeah, it was rough. I don't know what happened, but also it's only one game. So I'm not going to like completely overreact. Obviously, to your earlier point, Rodgers was very disappointing. Well, Michael, where's my tutorial? Does this mean I get a tutorial tonight after we record our pod? Because I've been waiting. But yeah, I did catch some football yesterday. I'm glad it's back. There's like something about football in the fall, but not nearly as much as everyone else. My Twitter timeline was like full of football talk, and I was just like, I don't even know what's going on.
And speaking of fall, I know you're a huge fan of it, and I get a little bit jealous because I live in the land where there are no seasons. It goes summer, 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 summer. And like on Saturday down here in South Florida, it was like in the 90s, right? And so you're up there in Chicago. Is fall starting to kick in? Like, are the leaves changing? Do you get a cool breeze? I'm very jealous.
Yeah, no, actually looking at my window, really, like all the trees are starting to change. It's still a little hot. Like I think we hit 80 yesterday, which I was not a fan of. But I feel like in a week or two we'll get there. I could never live somewhere without fall. If I could live somewhere where it's fall 95% of the time, I'd be a much happier girl.
Yeah, listen, I don't mind living down here in the winter, but it's every other time of the year where it's like, oh my God, I'm so hot, I'm so sweaty, I'm melting. So a really busy sports weekend, and it went beyond all the football. We had Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame, and my guy Chris Bosh goes in, and I am man enough to admit I got a little emotional when he said what he said to Pat Riley. And he told that story, and I remember kind of hearing rumblings that he never gave that ring back, right? Because Riley in the recruiting pitch, he likes to dump the rings out on the table. And, this was summer of 2010. Pat Riley actually told Bosh, he gave him one of the championship rings and said, hold on to this, give it back to me after we win a title together. And the way that Bosh told the story was so perfect, and I'm not going to tell the whole story because I will butcher it. But the way that he told the whole story was perfect because he's like, is this guy crazy? Like, because I hadn't even agreed to play there, and he lends me his championship ring. I don't know why it took Bosh 11 years to give it back, but he gave it back to Riley in that ceremony. And I was getting all the feels. How did you experience that, Allana? And if you want to share any of your favorite Chris Bosh memories, I think now is a great time for it.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. I expect nothing less out of him. I was already going into it knowing that his speech was going to make me emotional, and it was going to be, extremely moving, not just to Heat fans, but I think just to NBA fans in general. But the fact that he chose that moment to give the ring back was monumental. He is a class act. I think that despite everything that went down, things were a little bit rocky, I feel like, between him and the front office for a little bit after he was first diagnosed. But clearly, in the end of the day, they're all a big family. I am so glad that he got his recognition, and definitely made me emotional too. I was getting a little teary-eyed. I was talking to my friend yesterday about it too, and he was like, I was never even that invested in his career, but watching that back, like now all I want to do is just go back and watch highlights. So, I mean, well-deserved. I've been saying this for the last week, but I think for me, my best memories are like off the court with him. I think on the court, everyone knows how great he was, but the kind of person he was off the court too. And even now, he's still so immersed, in everything going on. And I think that he'll always be a part of the Heat family, but also just like a legend in the NBA. So super happy for him. If you haven't seen that, definitely go watch it. Even if you're not a Bosh fan or a Heat fan, like it's definitely worth your time.
And Bosh is such a good guy, and he's so well liked that even Kevin Garnett sent a nice message to him. I never thought in a million years that KG would ever say anything nice about a Heat player, especially a Big Three member or Ray Allen. That'll never happen. But I never thought he would say something nice about anyone from that era. Like it's kind of making me wonder if like KG is getting a little soft in his old age, because this guy is usually petty to the core.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's probably a possibility, but I also just think, like, how can you dislike Chris Bosh? Like, there's literally nothing to dislike about him. And I understand that, even if people, like I said, weren't following his career or weren't Heat fans, like, there is nothing not to like about him. I am incredibly sorry that his career had to end the way it did. But again, the fact that so many people recognize him for the greatness that he has on and off the court, I think speaks volumes. I also thought it was hilarious that, like, Ray Allen was clearly there for Chris Bosh and not Paul Pierce. So I loved that.
Oh my God. So Allana Tachauer is with us here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. It's crazy. And I just got the update on this. I think it was yesterday. I didn't realize how close we were. September 28th is when Heat training camp opens. First preseason game,
Thank
October
God.
4th. It's going to be here before we know it. We have the first two-way was used on Marcus Garrett. The Heat brought in a few of their summer league guys in on the 10-day contract. So the next two-way is going to be decided. But any thought on who gets that and how you think this roster is going to be filled out heading into camp?
I really don't know anymore. I think at this point, though, it's pretty safe to say that regardless of what that move is, it's not going to make or break the roster. I think now is really the time to work on, the chemistry between all the new guys. We got some really great players. The talent is there. I think our identity is definitely solidified, much more so than over the past couple of years. But with any new changes comes kind of those growing pains and that transition period. So I think the new guys just need to come together, figure, their chemistry out, figure out both offensively and defensively what they're going to look like. And I think now is the time also for Spo to work on his rotations. I have been a little critical of him over the last few years because I think sometimes he can get tunnel vision with kind of what he wants, and his adjustments tend to be a little bit wonky at times. But I'm excited. I can't wait. I've been dying without Heat basketball, so the sooner the better.
and someone I'm hoping has a renaissance year. Maybe he was a little bit picked on too much last season, but Tyler Herro, who looks like a monster. Like we saw that photo going around last week. Like he looks like Mr. Olympia. The guy is like chiseled this year. So physically, he's clearly making some improvements. Do you project Herro to have a big year? What do you think his ceiling is going to be with the Heat this coming season?
I think he's going to have a better year, and I think that's all I personally want from him. I think that we need to be careful about the expectations we set on players, because I think that's a huge part of the problem as to why, fans get disappointed. We talked about this on Clutch Corner. The fact that he's putting in the work already speaks volumes. He's trying to get his weight up. I think more so than anything defensively, he'll be way, way stronger and, not be blown past as easily. I think he's obviously going to be working on his shot too. So I think he'll have a better season. I made this point earlier, but I hope he can stay healthy. And I think right now, the fact that his body is transforming the way it is shows that his health is better. I don't think that fans understood how extensive of an injury he had, because I do think that played a huge part in it. Fans were kind of blaming the fact that he was doing all these things on the side and had all these sponsorship opportunities and new ventures. That wasn't it. Maybe they were distracting a little bit. He's a young guy, but I just think that as long as he stays healthy, he'll have a better season, and he's already looking good. So, it's only up from here.
Absolutely. Allana Tachauer is with us here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Who do you think is going to make the biggest leap this year, Allana? I think, I know Bam Adebayo is Mr. No Ceiling, so I think he can get even better, and he's already playing at an all-star level. Duncan Robinson is locked in, and I'm happy that the Heat are taking care of him, and we get, younger guys like Max Strus is going to get opportunities. We'll see how much of my guy Omer Yurtseven we see, as Ricky J. Mark writes in. So you're saying Yurtseven won't hit a game-winning 3 in Game 4 of the 22 NBA Finals versus Los Angeles. Which player on this roster do you think is going to make the biggest jump this year?
Honestly, I'm going to go with Max Strus. Bam seems like the obvious answer, but I think Bam's already so great and so talented that, he will improve, but I don't think it's going to be some sizable leap, because I don't think it needs to be honest. But I do think that Max Strus, not only because he's going to get a bigger role, but I think, he looked bigger. He looked like he put on some weight. He looked like he's ready to take on more. So I don't know. I'm expecting big things from him. Obviously, again, it's not going to be like a difference maker, but I do think having someone like him who's in the lineup more consistently and who, can keep hitting those shots, but also be a little bit stronger defensively, I think that's going to speak volumes.
We got reports last week that Victor Oladipo, knock on wood, could even be way ahead of schedule. That maybe he might be ready in December. How big of a boost would that be? Because so many of the conversations we've had is kind of preparing for life without Depot until maybe February or March. If the Heat can get him a couple months before that, what kind of a difference can he make?
No, I think that's huge. I think the sooner the better for him to just reacclimate to, not only our system, but now our system with new guys. In a way, maybe a silver lining of the fact that he only, I think, played 4 games is the fact that he doesn't necessarily have to adjust as much to these new guys and kind of to the new rotations. But I think it's going to be huge. I just hope we kind of introduce him back into things slowly so that he's not, putting too much pressure on himself, both physically and mentally. But I think he can be the X factor. I know Michael's going to love that I'm saying this, and I might tonight, if he brings this up, I might deny that it ever happened. But I do think he's gonna be the X factor for the team this year.
And you mentioned you and Michael Christian are going to be recording a new episode tonight. When is that going to drop? And if you have anything else to promote where we can see you, hear you this week on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. We're recording tonight, so it'll be up tomorrow morning. We're going to live stream at some point. I don't know if this week or next, but I believe Clutch Corner is also back Wednesday night. So the Heat content is definitely ramping up, moving towards that next 3 weeks that you were talking about. So get ready for some content. We've been a little lacking on what to talk about, but we always try to keep it interesting. So if you want me and Michael to talk about anything specific, hit me up on Twitter, hit Michael up on Twitter. We're all ears.
I mean, I want Michael and you, because you're a big football fan now, I want you to give me all of the Dolphins propaganda. Like, I want to hear everything. I want to see you in a Tua jersey the next time you
I can bait
stream.
Michael into some Dolphins talk tonight. Maybe eventually he'll give me the tutorial that I've been waiting on. We'll see with his busy lifestyle.
I love it. Allana Tachauer, thank you so much for taking the time. Everybody check out her work on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.